Good evening, and welcome to the Council special meeting on this December 30th, 2024. This is a special meeting of the Council, and it's being broadcast live on Channel 34. It's streaming live on Montclair TV 34, YouTube channel. It's available on demand and can and will be rebroadcast. This special meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. Adequate notice of the meeting has been provided, transmitted to the official newspapers on December 27th, 2024, posted on the bulletin boards outside of the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted. In addition, a copy of our special meeting notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Township Clerk. At this point in time, would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for just a few moments. Acknowledgement of the passing of President Jimmy Carter and any other people who have passed in the past year, and you just would like to reflect and keep them in memory. Thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you have roll call, please?
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Here.
Counselor Birmingham?
Here.
Counselor D'Amato?
Here.
Counselor Lockman?
Here.
Counselor Toller?
Good evening, President.
Good evening. Counselor Williams?
Here.
Mayor Baskerville?
Present. At this point in time, I would like to withdraw our discussion establishing a policy for the raising of the African American flag. The entire council did not have copies of the information that I was reviewing, and so we will take that off of this agenda, and we will give everyone an opportunity to participate and give opinions before, hopefully this will be on the next regular meeting of the council, which is January the 7th. I'd also... May I ask a question? Yes.
No, I just wanted to ask a question about that. So in the meantime, between now and January 7th, will there be any group or committee or persons that will be reviewing the policy and put something forth for the whole council to consider? I mean, it might be something that might be worthwhile. I don't know. I'm just asking a question.
I think it's definitely something that we strive to achieve, and that's the ideal situation. I'm hoping that we do that, and I assure you everyone will have a copy of what we're going through. So if we can figure out, who else wishes to be on that committee after we finish here tonight, we can probably do that offline. But yes, I think that that's an excellent idea, and that's what I would like to do if others are interested in participating. And hopefully, I think that when we work together as a team and everyone offers an input and we all listen to one another, certainly we do things in a much greater fashion. So thank you for raising that question. The other thing that I'd like to note is, unless there's strong objections from the council here, I am going to change the order of the agenda. We're going to go into our executive session. We're going to do this because we have a matter of urgency, and we need to discuss that right away. And after we do that, we certainly would like to hear from everyone that wishes to be heard this evening. So we will have a public comment after we come out of our executive session and take care of an item of business. We will be voting on that time. Hopefully, if things go as planned, we will vote on an interim township attorney when we resume the meeting after we come out of executive session. And after that time, we will offer anyone that wishes to be heard an opportunity for public comment. Process will be the same. You will come up, sign your name in the book, and you will be given an opportunity of 3 minutes to speak. Any strong objections from here, or can we move in that direction?
No objection.
Council. Okay. So I'm going to ask, please, that you remove, are we going upstairs and let them stay? Okay, we're going to go upstairs. You guys can stay here. I'll move it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we're going to go upstairs, and as soon as we take care of this matter, we'll be back. Thank you for your understanding.
Heather would be writing all these down, so you follow the procedure, and just, if you forget.
All right, you're online.
Thank you. A motion to come out of executive session? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, the purpose for the executive session was to discuss the various candidates for an interim township attorney. And so I would like to, well, unless someone else wants to do this. I'd like to.
I'll do it. You wanted me to do it?
Eileen?
Wait, sorry, I don't, who's got it?
I do.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm going to read Resolution R21-307, Township of Montclair, resolution appointing to the position of interim township attorney. Be it resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair in the County of Essex that Joseph Garcia be and is hereby appointed to serve as interim township attorney for a period of 90 days, commencing January 1st, 2025, or until such time as a permanent township attorney is appointed. Be it further resolved that compensation shall not to be extended beyond, not to exceed 28 hours per week and no more than $10,000 per month. And I so move.
A second? Oh, sorry.
second.
Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Any discussion? You want to discuss here what we discussed there? Are we good? Okay.
We're calling
Madam
the roll.
Clerk, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham.
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato.
Yes.
Counselor Lockman.
Yes.
Counselor Toller.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So at this point in time, we have the only other thing that we have on the agenda for tonight is to hear from the public, and we always welcome the public. We're going to try to keep our public comment period to 1 hour. We'll see how that goes. And so hopefully if you had a chance to sign up over here, if not, please do so. And we can begin with the public comment. I'm sorry. Hi, Peggy. Can you please tell us, when you come to the mic, this is for everyone, I should have announced this, please, for those of you that are coming and haven't been many times before, when you come up, if you would please give us your name, and if you're a Montclair resident, that's very helpful, and then begin, and you have a period of up to three minutes. Thank you for being here. No, push the button, the bar.
Green light.
Okay,
There.
now it's on. Good evening. My name is Margaret/Peggy McMillan. I am a Montclair resident for 52 years. I moved here 52 years ago with a newborn baby. And all my children went through the Montclair schools. I married a Montclair resident whose mother moved from Wisconsin to Montclair, bought a house on Park Street, went to Watchung School, and her three sons went to Watchung School, and our son went to Watchung School. So I have a deep commitment to the town of Montclair. Okay. I retired from teaching in Newark for 23 years, and I was looking for something to do in my retirement, and I was hired and trained as a docent at Turtleback Zoo. I was on the staff of the Newark Museum, and the Van Vleck House had an educational program that I was going to involve myself in. And then one day I went by the Montclair Township Animal Shelter to give a donation, and the rest is history. I was asked if I wanted to volunteer there, and I did, and I'm at the Montclair Township Animal Shelter for 10 years. I am the receptionist. I'm there every day, well, not every day, I'm there 5 days a week, from 1 until 4. So if you come to the shelter before 1 o'clock, there is not a receptionist. If you come from 1 to 4, there has been a receptionist there for 10 years, and I guarantee that. I have been the receptionist for the last 10 years. Okay. I have had the privilege of meeting over the last 10 years hundreds and hundreds of people who have sought out the Montclair Animal Shelter because of its reputation, because of its the town of Montclair's animal shelter has a reputation throughout not only Essex County but throughout the entire state of New Jersey, and people come here from all different parts of the state because they want to look at our animals because of the reputation of the shelter and because of the animals that we used to get. At one time, we were allowed to have a transport bring animals from down south, from shelters that my director knew the directors personally, and they were healthy and well screened and vaccinated, and they came to the Montclair shelter not through the expense of the Township of Montclair, but through the 501c3 Friends of the Montclair Township Animal Shelter, who finance the transport and finance the medical treatment of the animals that came from down south. And at some point in time, the powers that be in town decided that this was not a good idea and wouldn't allow us any further to bring animals from down south.
Thank you so much for coming, Peg.
End of story? That was 3
Well,
minutes?
That was your 3 minutes. Were you not clear that that's what we were doing here? That's why I thought I was making it clear. Were you not clear that you had 3 minutes?
Yeah, but I guess it went by too
Yeah,
fast.
it goes.
And the last thing I want to say is, at some point in time, we were allowed to make an exception to adopt animals that were not Montclair residents' animals. And if there was a Yorkie or a Shih Tzu or something from Glen Ridge, my director would have the option of making an exception to an
Okay.
animal that was highly adoptable in Montclair.
Thanks,
But the
Peg.
powers that be changed that, and we can now not
Thank
adopt
you, Peg,
out
for
any
coming. I
animals that are not
appreciate that. I did
from the
extend
residents
you
of
beyond
Montclair.
the time
Thank you
period because
very
I
much.
wanted to make sure that, thank you for your respect. Next guest, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Catherine Nicholas. I am a 80-year resident of Montclair. My children went through the public school system. I went through the public school system in Montclair. And I've worked in Montclair all of my life. I've known the Baskervilles. I worked on various committees with Renee's mother, Renee's father. And I am appalled that anyone would speak to our mayor in the way that she has been spoken to. And not only that, does this gentleman speak to other women this way, or just women of black persuasion? Of color. Any of them. Or just her. And I want to know what's going to be done about it. How is this situation going to be addressed? Everything else, we come up here and we talk. This is not my first time talking about something up here. But I felt compelled to come before you tonight because I not only know the family, but as well, I'm a woman of color. I'm an older woman. And who knows what's going to happen next. So I want to know what's going to be done about it. Thank you. And if anyone would like to answer that, I'd appreciate it.
We can't discuss that, but thank you so much for
Okay,
coming.
thank you.
Next
I just
guest,
want you to
please.
know how I felt about it.
Next guest, please. Oh, because Mr. Fan's not here. You all didn't get numbers? Oh.
Hi there.
Hi there.
I'm Carol Vasquez, and I'm a Montclair resident. My children have gone through the Montclair Public Schools. And I know that there is going to be a discussion on the flag ordinance that's coming up. And I wanted to advocate for keeping it to the American flag or a state flag or something that's along the lines, because I think it can get to be problematic. It can be a slippery slope. You know, everybody's going to want to have a different flag, and some people will be offended, and some people, you know, will have lots of feelings about different flags. So it just, to me, it makes more sense that it would just stick to a state flag. And if for any reason that changes, where it is determined that we're going to have other flags that are going to be flown, I would like to advocate for on January 20th, if we could please fly this flag. So January 20th, we can fly this flag, and I will advocate for that. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you. Take
Thank
care.
you. Next guest, please.
Catherine Nichols.
No, that was Catherine Nicholas already, and then that.
That was because they kind of went out of order.
And please, let's
Anya.
try to be respectful of other
Anya?
people that may not share all of our same opinions. Let's listen and allow the people to
Yeah.
express themselves.
Hi, my name is Lorraine Regan. I'm a Montclair resident. I'm also here regarding the issue of a new flag ordinance. As an American citizen, I believe we should only have the American flag flown in any building that represents our town, our city, the American government. And again, I also agree with what the previous speaker said, that if we start opening up to other flags, we're going to have every person in America wanting something shown, you know, a different kind of flag. And it's not about feelings. This is the United States of America. We have one flag, and it has nothing to do with the color of our skin.
Please, can we please try
We are
to
one nation.
not call out while there's a speaker at the mic?
Yeah, I see you too, honey, but I'm speaking.
Can we please not have the back and forth and allow
Okay, let
the
me just
individual
finish.
speakers? Yes, I'm going to let you finish, and
Okay.
I'm going to give you a couple of more minutes
Okay.
because you've been interrupted.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say that America's principles are one nation under God, and that is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is a nation founded on Christianity, and our flag is our flag in America, and we do not want any other flags flown in the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Okay, I'm going to ask again, please, and I'm going to ask very nicely, please try to withhold the comments. We can't really conduct business here, and we are trying very much to respect it. We all have differences, and whether we agree with them or whether we don't agree with them, you know, we should be allowed to let everyone finish without interrupting. And then we want to hear from all of you. We want to hear from everyone, and we want everybody not to be interrupted when you're here, and we're going to respect you too by not interrupting you. So let's give it a try, please. How are you, Reverend?
Hello, it's so good to see you and good to be here. I want to begin. I'm Reverend Anya Samler-Michael. My pronouns are she, hers, and I serve with the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Montclair, as well as many other institutions and organizations in the town of Montclair and beyond. And the reason that I wanted to come and speak before you tonight is because I respect you all so very much for the work that you do, the incredibly difficult work that you do. I respect you especially, Mayor Baskerville, for the work that you do and how difficult this year has been and that you continue. And I just want to take a moment to say that oftentimes this microphone, I feel like it's the bad news microphone, where all of the bad news and the most difficult things happening in the township of Montclair gets projected at all of you. Where really, I remember your swearing in ceremony where you invited us all to be sworn in together, where we would take on some of the burden of making sure that this town lives up to the expectations that we have of it. So I'm here tonight to say that I take on some of that burden, as I know many others here do as well. And I also am here to turn the tables on the bad news microphone and share some of the good news happening in town. I have the honor and the joy to work with so many different groups across the town and across Essex County and across the state of New Jersey. And many of those groups are full of people from many different organizations, religious communities, and with different expectations of who we should be and how we should be. And yet we all come together. In this town especially, there is a really beautiful clergy group that comes together, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and we work together on our problems and we have difficult discussions. There are groups here that work on racism, and they are incredible groups that have been doing this work for many, many years, and they are full of the diversity of this town's people. And they keep showing up for the work of justice. There is right now an amazing group starting to form again for housing justice and for affordable housing, and that group is full of people who are Jewish and Christian and Muslim and African American and white and et cetera, et cetera. We are the diversity of this town, and we come together to do the work of justice, and that happens day after day, week after week. What you always hear is the bad news, but there's also really beautiful things happening in this town, and it shows who we are and who we can be. And I hope that we will keep showing up as a community to support your leadership, to support the council's leadership, and to recognize that we are so imperfect, all of us, and that we can do the work of making ourselves whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next guest, please.
Good evening, Sarah Avery, Montclair resident. I came to Montclair 38 years ago for the diversity that was promoted. I raised my children here. I believed the myth and drank the Kool-Aid that Montclair is special. And in so doing, I subjected my children to racism. Now, in the face of irrefutable evidence of exploitation of the historically black South End neighborhoods by predatory developers, I have been forced to evaluate the basis for my belief in that myth. In the 1894 history of Montclair Township, Henry Whitmore writes, "The influx of the colored people in Montclair began around 1870 and was the result of an effort to solve the servant question. The wealthy of Montclair intentionally imported young black men and women from Loudoun County, Virginia, to employ as servants in their homes. Then they vigorously segregated all other aspects of life, including churches, and white people provided some of the funding to purchase the lot on the corner of Midland and Portland to house the Union Baptist Church, and St. Mark's Methodist, which, quote, owes its existence to the efforts of a few individuals, whites, who conceived the idea of organizing a colored union church. In both the 1870 and 1880 census, there are people of color classified as mulatto. It is impossible to know whether this trend continued in the 1890 census, as it was destroyed. However, by the 1900 census, there's no longer a classification of mixed race, emphasizing the importance of the division between whites and non-whites. The Edwin Goodell history, written in 1934, referring to the Howe House on Claremont Avenue, states, quote, The settlement remained in possession of James Howe much longer than some of the white people who are about to come to this hillside will desire, for it occupies one of the most eligible sites in the town. Over time, the black population was forced to live in the south end of Montclair by owners and realtors alike. Now the black population is being driven from their homes by developers extracting wealth that rightly belongs to the people who were forced to live there. No reparations for slavery have been offered or received, yet the descendants of slavery continue to be exploited, excluded, persecuted, hunted, and blamed. That is the heart of every scourge afflicting this community.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Habari Gani, Nia. Today means purpose. We're celebrating Kwanzaa. Very interesting. We're here tonight. A few things I definitely need to say because I'm more disgusted tonight than I was at the last meeting. I mentioned the trauma and the casualness with our Ma'afa, talking about enslavement and all the legacies of enslavement, and I'm going to attach onto that all the attacks on black people. So the last time I was in this room, you, D'Amato, you yelled for me to get out, and I told you to get out. So tonight I want to say on this public mic, you need to be recalled. You need to get out. You need to get out. I quoted on this mic before when I quoted Malcolm X when he said that the most disrespected, neglected, and unprotected person in this country is the black woman. It has been epitomized in this space. Now knowing after you yelled at me because you think you can, because you think black women can go unprotected, we're not. We're not. Then I find out moments later, you cursed at our mayor, the first black female mayor. Then I'm learning that you've been cursing at my council person. I was quoted in a newspaper. At that time, I didn't know what happened with you, Councilwoman Toller. And it's disgusting, it's consistent with this behavior here. And it's definitely an anti-black space here. And I really hope people start to respond to you guys accordingly when you start accommodating this racism and this white supremacy. It is white supremacy. I don't care whose face is coming out of. You had people here, folks from town invited folks from Milburn and Livingston, mentioning Aunt Jemima, Emmett Till, which is trauma for us because our black boys still get drugged out of houses and killed. So I'm very clear on what this is, and I'm disgusted tonight even more than I was the other night. You need to step down on your own because you are a problem for this community. And anyone who has an issue with our flag, all you're doing is telling on yourself. That is a flag of liberation. Any group who is oppressed or ever has been oppressed would respect that flag.
Thank you for coming. Next guest, please, and can I please remind you again to try to hold in your emotions. I know some of these topics are very emotional, but please try hard not to make comments while someone's at the mic. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, praise the Lord. Marcellus Medeiros, 15 Mountain View Place. First, I want to start by saying I'm sorry to you, Mary Baskerville, that you have been exposed to harassment and intimidation and just a negative, I don't even know where to go with it, but I just want to say sorry, and I'm sorry that happened to you. And with regards to the Pan-African Liberation flag, the reason why that flag needs to go up is because in this town, we had a superintendent that went around in all spaces at the NAACP Education Committee meeting, during staff meetings all over this town, talking about he don't have a problem with racist teachers as long as it does not impede instruction, which we know is impossible. That flag needs to go up because I watch you, Deputy Mary, constantly interrupt her. You, Councilwoman Loftman, constantly interrupt her. Along with you, I'm not even going to touch you. Ms. Councilman Williams, you just sit there, so that's a little disappointing, but I'm not even going to go there. I just really, I'm disgusted with all the pushback on this flag. And it makes me think of, I don't know if any of y'all watched Beyonce Bowl, but it's just right there, like, y'all mad at black people. Anytime a black person is in a position of power, you get so mad. They sit in there. You know, I was mad when Jay-Z did that thing after Colin Kaepernick, but she is taking that platform and she is educating you. Because y'all ain't going to get educated in these schools. You're not going to get educated in these schools. I didn't even know what the Reconstruction era was until I started going to pop meetings. So that doesn't have, and that was after I got my master's in education. So you're not going to learn it in these institutions. I'm sorry, my thoughts are all over the place. But because people want to start quoting Bibles, there's this one scripture, Jesus, I think in Luke, what was it, Luke 4:18, where he quotes Isaiah 61:1. How's it go? It goes, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free." That was the new international version. Mm-hmm. So, like, nobody in this country, in this world, globally, is free until we're all free. And we know black people are the most oppressed. So stop with this being careless and mentioning things like Olympics, oppressions, or whatever you're doing, because that's ridiculous. We know it started. We know the Catholic Church is the one who started it too. So I'm just saying, please, and I'm sorry.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Tight, but it's right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Susie Newton. And guess what? This is the first time that I've ever been in a meeting. I've been here for 23 years. I raised my daughter here. We've had a great time, and we're going to continue to have a great time. And I couldn't sleep last night because I kept asking God. I said, Lord, what would I say in this meeting? What am I going to say? And it came to me, Mayor, was a cry for help. You know, we're women. And for someone to say to me, what you gonna do about it? It makes me think about The Sopranos. It really does, because they use that term a lot. What you gonna do about it? Well, you don't say that to a woman. We know we can't be a man. What woman would want to work with the man who says that? I would feel very uncomfortable. You know, stress will kill you. They say that stress is a #1 precursor to a lot of diseases like kidney, high blood pressure. And when someone is constantly stressed, that can truly kill you. And I know this woman has to be stressed to go to the police. We don't want to go to the police. When you go to the police department, that is putting everything on Front Street. You know, with domestic violence, they always say, did you ever write out a report? And they say, no, we didn't. So we have no history of it. For her to go to the police at this point in her life, it's at a point of no return. It really is. And I just cannot believe.
Push your mic.
Someone would say that.
Yeah. The green button, did it come on? You see
Yes,
green light?
it's on.
Yeah, now it's on.
So I'm just nervous myself if I was in that environment where I felt that I was threatened for my life. I really wouldn't know what to do. So I'm just saying, I mean, we have a zero policy in terms of bullying. So why should we expect that this person would be on this council and do that? If we expect our children not to bully anybody, why can't we have that respect from a person on this council? I asked that he be resigned. He resigned right now, because everybody's going to think that our community has a bully in Montclair, and we do. This is our community. We don't need that type of foolishness. We teach our kids. We have children. You know, we're in the age of Trumpism, and it's just having a freaking spillover effect that you can just say anything. That's something that will come out of Trump's mouth, what he said. What is this, having a spillover effect? It's got to stop, and it's not going to be tolerated here in Montclair, New Jersey.
Thank you for coming. Next guest, please.
Good evening, Kevin Dawood Amin.
Good
Imam
evening.
at Masjid Wadud, Montclair, New Jersey. I've got a concern regarding transparency. My first one has to do with the attorney. I know that you guys have some candidates, and I know that you're evaluating them. But what I see lacking is that what are the qualities that you're looking to address the particular areas or needs that we have now? We've got $1 million payout for the CFO. We have litigation between members now, police litigation, and also we just come off an anti-Semitism crusade where the police chief, the town manager, and now the mayor are being bullied to support to support an accusation that the Attorney General has not labeled as such. Now, I wrote a letter to the town manager saying that. I came to a meeting and they were saying the town manager needs to go. He's a criminal. He did that. And he said something, it almost knocked me on the ground. He said, don't come here because we don't have the ability to judge that. If you have an accusation, go to the Essex County prosecutor and then file charges. Don't come here anymore with that. So I'm here to say the same thing. You want to accuse me of anti-Semitism? Go to the AG first and come back. If somebody on this council, in an official capacity, whether it be this council or the Civil Rights Commission, then you have to explain to my lawyer why you're doing that. Okay. So now let's also get to our attorney. Is this attorney going to be able to rein in like Mr. Byrd did? Is this attorney going to rein in so we don't? I mean, I'm a homeowner here. I'm out of $1 million. I'm out of $1 million, and I don't want to give up any more money. So hopefully, the attorney that you that you hire will be able to handle those sort of things. Regarding the town manager, excuse me, I beg your pardon. No, I'm sorry, Mr. Polar. I'm not you. Regarding Eric Roberts, the first ward council member, you should resign. If you're not going to resign and you want to stay on, what you should do is you should get some anger management. Because it's clear that what you are is that you think that, number one, that you can come here and do that. There's 5 women here there's 5 women on this body. So you have to know how to act around ladies if you're going to be a professional. And I'm just going to leave you with something you told me in the email. Why don't you just apologize? Apologize to her, and then get your anger management. You can stay there. If not, you should resign. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Next guest, please. Next guest, please. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard? Brother Ham. Good evening, Brother Ham.
Good evening, members of the council. And citizens who are here tonight. My name is Lawrence Ham. I reside at 18 Madison Avenue in Montclair, New Jersey. I've been in this town for, must be about 25 years now. Both my kids attended public schools here in Montclair and graduated. I did not plan to speak tonight. I really didn't. I came to support in a silent manner. I came initially because I was outraged to hear that 2 female members of this council were attacked in such a manner that they had to file complaints with the police of Montclair, New Jersey. That is breathtaking. That is breathtaking, that members of the council would be in fear of harm to their persons, because that's why you file a complaint with the police. And so I would advise Councilman D'Amato to resign, and to resign quickly. Because
Please, we have to have order in the room, please. Thank you.
And the reason I say quickly is because if you continue such behavior, it will probably result in litigation that will cost the taxpayers of this town money. And we should not be expending taxpayer funds for the bad behavior of persons who should know better. I was not going to speak, but what really triggered me to speak was when one of the previous speakers here at the podium unveiled the flag of the fascist leader, Donald Trump, who led an insurrection to overthrow the government of the United States, to reverse a constitutionally qualified election. And that is what made me come to the podium, because I thought that I could only be redundant because everyone else has spoken so well. And I also want to express my support for displaying the Black Liberation flag here in the city of Montclair. I'm a former school board member, and while I was a member of the Board of Education, this question also confronted the board. And we permitted bringing the flag forward into our schools at times when it was culturally relevant, such as Martin Luther King's birthday, Black History Month, and other days and observances throughout the year. And the city of Newark and other cities throughout this state, they display the flags of all the different ethnic groups that are represented in their town. And then the last thing I want to say to one of the previous speakers was, one of the basic lessons we learn in social studies is the separation of church and state in the United States according to the Constitution. This country was not founded as a Christian nation. The founding fathers, in fact, did not want to establish a theocracy because they saw how war, religious wars, the 100 Years' Wars, the 30 Years' War, the wars between Catholic and Protestant had nearly destroyed European societies. So they founded a secular nation which would be respectful of all the religions, all the belief and the right not to believe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
We
much.
appreciate it. Next guest, please.
Thank you to the person who just spoke. Everything you just said. I was home. I'm pretty sure I left the TV on, maybe the stove, and I heard the people back there speak. And I don't even know what to say, and I'm going to say the wrong things, and I apologize for that. But I understand the need for process, but most important is our humanity. The vast majority of those who have chosen to live in this community is because we want to be around people who are not all the same. We're here because we celebrate different cultures and ideas, and I'm here to stand with the Black community today, right now. I care about them. I want to hear their voices, and I'd like to see a flag that celebrates Black members of our community. And I don't think it's appropriate for anybody to come here and talk about this country being founded on principles that it wasn't founded on. I left Italy, a Catholic country, to come to be here in America, in a democracy where church and state is separate and where all races are equal, supposedly. And one of the first things I did when I went back to college a few years ago was take a course in civil rights and the history, because they didn't teach me that in Italy. And I wish they taught everybody that history. And just listen to your community, what they want, what they need. And if they are here and going out of their way asking for recognition, there is a reason. And I think we need to honor that. And it's not about every flag or only one flag. There are communities, there are heritages, and we're lucky to have multi-ethnic and multi-heritage communities. And many of us have them in our own family. And we can celebrate that, and it doesn't take anything away from anybody.
Thank you very much. Next guest, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Lucky 13 tonight. You know, I just want to say it's great to be back in Mississippi. You know, my name is Joseph Fortunato. I am a resident of the First Ward, a voter, lifelong Montclair resident, and by that, 71 years, not as much as some of the people who've appeared before you in the last couple of sessions. But I want to say first, Mayor Baskerville.
Yes, sir.
I want to say first, and to Amina Toller, I want to apologize to you. I mean, I'm embarrassed by the behavior of my representative. You know, last week I mentioned one of my mentors, Arthur Kenoy. Mm-hmm. Some of you know him. You know, I would follow around when I was a young law student around the country with him, and I got to meet some wonderful black women, including Rosa Parks on one occasion. You know, clearly. Has anybody seen the movie 688 yet? Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. So once again, we're in a situation where black women have to clean up a mess. You know, I am embarrassed. You know what this brought to mind to me? I have a sort of a strange history, perhaps, but this brought to mind to me when Abby Hoffman, another great Jewish American, by the way, spoke to Judge Julius Hoffman in a political trial, Chicago 7. Andy Sorkin's movie did not a bad job with it, although I don't like especially his treatment of David Dellinger. But at one point, Abby Hoffman said to Judge Julius Hoffman, in a particularly egregious trial setting, you're embarrassing us in front of the Goyim. And that's the way I feel. You are embarrassing us. And I think you should resign. In fact, I think if we've gotten to a situation where the black women in particular, and from what I hear, other people as well, cannot work with you, if you are an obstructionist, then you should resign. And I'm speaking, Arthur would say one more thing to us, that there are not 3 branches of government, there are 4 branches of government. The 4th is the people. And I think the people who are speaking tonight resign.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Good evening.
Good
and first
evening.
of all, thank you for mentioning Arthur Kenoy twice. When I moved to Montclair, he was my first neighbor, and I got some lessons there. My husband got to make one of his birthday dinners. Anyway, because I have nothing to prepared and I'm so disgusted right now, I'm going to read part of my email that I sent to you all this morning. I want to bring attention to the very obvious hypocrisy and racism rearing its ugly head in our town regards to the Pan-African flag discussion. I request that all commissioners, meaning the civil rights commissioners' eyes and ears, are tuned in to the local media, conversations, as well as any speakers that may show up tonight. I want to remind all of you that as Montclair flew multiple Israeli flags and pride flags, over the years, there was never any pushback at this microphone. None of the people currently having things to say about this Pan-African flag or policy about flags ever came forward before. What does that tell you? Even you, as current town councilors, never had anything to say about flying the pride flag without a policy, or the flag Peter Iacobellis had requested Michael LaPola fly on 2 town poles. No one had anything to say until a Pan-African flag was graciously donated and requested to be flown. How very hypocritical and blatantly racist. A reminder to all that this started when the council allowed Lonnie Summer Padilla the ability to barge into a meeting when it wasn't even public comment and complain about the flag. Then soon after, Mr. D'Amato emailed Miss Summer Padilla and stated that she and he may have confused the Pan-African flag with Arab flags. And that made him sad. More bias and more racism. This all could have been avoided if any of you had the courage to speak up against the obvious bias and racism. If you sit and wonder where this council is going wrong, you need to look no further than your own inactions to call out hypocrisy and racism when it happens in your town. It comes to no surprise to those of us paying attention that many on this council are allowing blatant racism to continue behind closed doors as well. How dare any one of you be bystanders when Eric D'Amato is screaming obscenities at the only two black women on that council. And when he yells at a black female community member to get out of a meeting. He has shown us all who he is on multiple occasions, and he is left unchecked. Resign.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask again, please, that we don't have yelling out. Please, I need you to work with me in trying to get through this meeting. We want to hear from everybody, and we want to be respectful about it. I'm asking you again, please work with me. Next guest, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mayor, first of all, congratulations on being sworn in this year. I haven't had a chance to congratulate you.
Thank you.
If we look back to 2020, there were 2 elections that were stolen.
Michael Barnes.
President Trump's election was stolen, and your election was stolen when they didn't count your votes. And I'm glad that both you and President Trump were elected this year and sworn in. I am the president of the Montclair Republican County Committee. And a couple things just before I get to the heart of the issue. Number one, I am banned from Secret Montclair by now a councilwoman, I guess in part, who is an administrator of that organization.
Excuse me, may I? I'm not, that's not me. Thank you, though.
Mr. Burns.
I would like to be restored to Secret Montclair to be a part of our civic discussion. You know that I've been involved in many different efforts in this town for a long time, Mayor. Second of all, in terms of what Republicans and conservatives go through in this town, some of you do know that about 5 or 6 months ago, I was attacked in the middle of Valley Road, and the police had to come, and my assailant was eventually taken to court and, found guilty, I guess you would say, and, given a very significant fine, forced to write a letter of apology. I'm by far not the only person that's subject to these kinds of attacks, and I think it's important that, people recognize that, both on the council and in the community. A lot of the people, behind me I've worked with on different committees over the years I've been involved with, and we have different viewpoints on different issues, obviously, but we're all part of the same community. I think it's important. Just with respect to, using public resources to promote a message. In the early 2000s, there was a situation where, in the schools, where an anti-gun, I guess, flyer of some kind was put into the students' backpacks, and they took the flyer home to their parents, I guess. I was away at college in California, but I'm a little bit familiar with the situation. And the Republicans at that time contested it and said that if the resources and effort was going to be used to promote one message, then they had to promote a different message. And it took a couple of years, but went through the court system, and ultimately the courts agreed that the Montclair schools were compelled to put a pro-Second Amendment flyer in the backpacks of all the students, and that happened. Okay, and I guess it was a pretty divisive situation. Again, I was mostly away at school during that time. But to the extent that any public resources are used to promote a message, our organization, Montclair Republicans, and maybe other organizations I'm involved with, will demand that equal opportunities for other messages be given as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Michael Burns. Michael Burns. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Ariel Extet 316 Park Street. I was at a zoning board meeting a couple weeks ago, and it was a really wonderful experience because there was so much humanity up on the dais and in the room, and this was concerning a development in the 4th Ward. And in the end, the zoning board voted 7-0 to go against a project that was going to harm the 4th Ward. And there was great humanity in that room. There has been a great loss of humanity in this room. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what has happened. I feel so just disheartened, sad, angry that our 2 Black council women felt harmed, scared. It's not right. And I stand with these women and with the other Black women in the room. I am a Jewish woman for years and decades. Jewish people and Black people have worked hand in hand for progress. The divisions that have happened lately have made it seem like that is not possible. And that would be a very sad, sad chapter if that were the case. So I ask for people to return to humanity, to bring their humanity for us to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Hey, my name is Ben Kaplan. I'm a lifelong resident of Montclair. I live up the street on Walnut Street. I just wanted to say, so the flag behind you, you have the American flag, right? That flag represents a lot of horrible things for Black people in this country. It represents chattel slavery. It represents oppression. It represents the history of Jim Crow. To say that we could not raise the Pan-African flag in Montclair is absolutely insane. And then for somebody to talk about the repression that conservatives face in Montclair, when in New Jersey, 60% of incarcerated people are Black. 13% of New Jersey residents are Black. Conservatives do not face the same repression. Get a grip.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Okay, hearing none. Oh, there's one more.
Good evening, William Scott, 23.
Good evening.
23 Cedar Avenue. And obviously, I have to start with the fact I've been a resident of Montclair for 75 years, 4 generations. I was stunned when I read the report in the Montclair Local about what you had to endure, Mayor Baskerville, and also Councilwoman Toller. I've worked in corporate America, in the public sector, and the private sector for 40 years. Never have I ever seen or heard of the type of behavior, Mr. D'Amato, that you have conducted yourself with. It would be unacceptable. You would be terminated. I've been a supervisor, a manager. I've supervised up to almost 20 women at any given time. Yes, women can be pretty tough to deal with, but never did I ever have the nerve to speak in a derogatory way, in a vulgar way, in a threatening way. And even in my supervision, it was never accepted. Montclair has to move forward. Montclair has to move forward. We have a new council. We've got tremendous issues on the table. We have to be civil, take care of the business of this township. But Mr. D'Amato, you cannot move forward with this type of behavior. So it is obvious you really do need to resign. Yes. You really need to resign. I've been subjected to some negative comments in dealings with some individuals with past administrations. I've tried to forgive those individuals for those comments. But when it comes to threatening women, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable in this country, and it has to stop now. And Montclair has to set an example. We are always looked upon as a progressive township. We cannot be progressive with this type of behavior. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay, so at this point in time, we're going to, I'm going to recognize the final speaker. This is the first time we were actually able to do this. We said that we were going to allow 1 hour for our public comment, and so we're right on point, and we're happy to see our last two, have our last two speakers come. And then, because this is a special meeting, we'll be adjourning until a later date. So thank you for joining us.
Good evening, council members. I come with a heavy heart this evening.
Please give us your name.
My name is Anaya Turner.
Thank you.
I come with a heavy heart this evening because I mentioned this before, but I'm still waiting for the day when Montclair will practice true equity. I've lived here my entire life, went to school here from preschool all the way until high school. And it truly is showing that that is something that has never happened. And I'm not sure if it ever will in this township. And I was raised here and left here because of that exact reason. So I just want to put that on record. I want to remind you all of some historical context that back in August of this year, Sister Kalia brought to your attention a disgraceful reality that up until August of 2024, the Township of Montclair has never flown the Black Liberation flag. Since then, we have had multiple meetings about this where there have had to be some processes and all these things. And like so many people have said before, there was no process for the gay pride flag. There was no process for the Palestinian flag. There was no process for any other flags. But for some reason, there is a process that needs to be in place for the Pan-African flag, for the people who built this country. She even gifted you with the first Black Liberation flag to be raised. However, I'm also here for another reason, because I'm disgusted that since she fought for this, there have been multiple instances that I even had to leave my home in order to address you all today. From Mr. D'Amato, you yelling at Sister Kalia, yelling at her in a public meeting, telling her to get out in a public space, completely disgusting and inappropriate. Also, you telling the mayor to F you, and also telling the 4th Ward council member the same thing to F you. How disgraceful, how disgusting for you to be a council member. Step down immediately. You do not deserve to be here and to represent this township of Montclair. So, I want to end my my address with just saying a couple things to you. I brought to your attention before about the difference between equality and equity. And I want to remind you all of that equality means everybody gets the same thing. Equity means the most disadvantaged group of people get what they need first, regardless of anybody else up in this room who thinks that they deserve something that they do not. Please be mindful of this when you take into consideration the fact that this country was built on our backs. Bring our flag to us. And also, like I said, Mr. D'Amato, peace and blessings. You need to dip.
Thank you. And our final speaker for this evening,
Hey, good evening.
good evening. Thank you for joining us, Reverend.
Reverend Scott Samler Michael. I serve the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Montclair on Church Street with my wife Anya. I live 10 Granada Place in the 4th Ward, where Amina Toller is my council person and where Mayor Renee is a neighbor. You know, I've heard it said by a few folks here tonight. I want to make it sure that at least there's one white man up here saying it, that white supremacy is the greatest scourge still festering the soul of this nation, and misogyny is its dreadfully ugly sister. And more white folks, especially those who look like me, need to be able to say that out loud and to work on what needs to be changed in their hearts to make this a better place for everybody. And I appreciate, you know, some of the arguments brought forth by the gentleman from the committee, from the Republican committee, but I don't understand what an imposing viewpoint of black liberation is. Does that mean black enslavement? I'm not sure that there's a this or that. So, you know, if this is a nation found on liberty, then black liberty is part of that liberty, and it's about damn time. So not all viewpoints are equal or deserve public voice, but that one certainly does. And the saddest thing about this, about having someone creating problems and not stepping down because they're getting in the way, we have real problems in this community that we need to confront. We have work before us that we can only do together, right? So let's try and actually get to the work. I really appreciated Council members Lockman and Anderson's presentation about some of the issues confronting our municipal spaces. I used to be a construction project manager, and I manage the church where I serve. And some of the things I saw, you know, we need to come up with a solution for sending our public employees to places that are falling apart and making them sick. That's just one of the dozens of problems. So get out the way, step down. I'm so sorry this happened to you in our town. I love you.
Thank you. Love you back. Okay, so as you know, this has been a special meeting, and at this point in time, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn. Our next meeting will be on Thursday. That's also a special meeting there. We will not take any action. The purpose of that meeting will be for us to talk about some candidates for our manager. It will be available on that part will be an executive session, so that won't be available, but during that executive session we will be discussing candidates who have put in applications to become our next manager of this fine township. After that's over, we will probably have a very brief open public comment, and that will be done by Zoom. We won't be taking any action on a manager at that time. We're just beginning the process. So there will be other times when we will probably need to have similar types of meetings where we go immediately into executive session, and we will then discuss as a group, all of us, the candidates that we will review for possibility of becoming our next manager. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, and Happy New Year, happy and healthy New Year.